Hey, this is Brennan, and I want people to know that it's all right. Okay, that we have to communicate. Okay, I want to assure people that if there's a bad joke, there's an explanation. Okay, and that's the beauty of it. So I think the reason why there's division in the technological world, especially. Okay, so this is like countries that develop technology, that are developed and that have technology. They may have a lot of fractures in between them, and it is because Hollywood will tell you that nobody is from there. Okay, and they're basically lying. They're creating treachery. Okay, it's sort of saying no one is from Hollywood or Silicon Valley, more specifically. No one is from where Twitter is from. Okay, that's treacherous, and that's their choice to create treachery, to create this FBI cover-up reality delusion of orchestrating hatred in Silicon Valley. In fact, okay, indeed, sort of saying, "Oh, you're homophobic," when the infidel, person who's not even from there, should not be talking, because in your hometown, call them homophobic, but don't come someplace and tell the locals who put up with foreigners, okay, that actually, dude, I don't mean like in Latin America where there are no foreigners, unless if they're just retirees coming there just to die, to spend their money and die. Family, no one's actually from there. Even Mitt Romney's father had to leave Latin America because it was too dangerous, it was too hostile, too fake. Ultimately, okay, if there's no, okay, if you want to prove something is true, Donald Trump, if Twitter is true, comes from Silicon Valley, okay, what you need to do is champion someone who is from there. And by champion, I don't mean sort of be ambiguous like myself, but be honest and say, look, you'd rather buy a diplomatic apartment in Russia, in Turkey, in Syria, and all these, Korea, all these countries, not in like the conflict zones, but close and on the balanced side of the balancing axioms of world peace. Okay, so it's crucial that if you're using Twitter and you believe you're telling the truth, that you have to find someone who truly grew up there, whose parents and grandparents are all American. Okay, this is George Washington and apple pie, and in a diplomatic apartment somewhere that Russia thinks is smart, that Israel, Korea, okay, really understanding places, there will be apple pie too. Okay, George Washington and apple pie, and an honest America, not one where Hollywood says there's no one from here and champions that. No, I want a president who says, I use Twitter and I'm championing someone who actually grew up there, just like George Washington. Time and space is how we're communicating, how technology works. Okay, so space changes when people move to Silicon Valley to start up social media. AOL from New York, but not, I don't know. I think they charged or something like that. They wanted money, go figure, New Yorkers. No one gave it to them. Okay, so there you go. You're using Twitter instead, right? And Facebook because it's free. Okay, so if you are truly communicating, if you're being an honest person, then choose someone from there who is like George Washington. Okay, and when I say time and space, when George Washington was a child, time changed. GPS was invented, a one-time thing. It happened, and it has forever created global time. And since then, we've been able to communicate more and more until it's like this. It's practically instant. I think it actually is instant on certain levels, certain degrees of technology. This is just a cheaper phone because, it doesn't cost them much. Okay, but if you start firing missiles, you start waging war, it's a proof that you don't believe in the truth. Okay, and the true media. And I understand when a lot of countries they get skeptical about the media because it could be all fake people who believe in fake stuff, who believe that God is fake, like atheists. They just don't want the truth. They don't want actual representation, which our founding fathers wanted. Okay, now the media will wrap this up big time and say, oh, well, he's homophobic or something like that, and they don't have anyone, gay or straight, who's actually from Silicon Valley, where this message is originating. Okay, where the technology happens, where it happened, where it was accepted. Okay, you can say, oh, I would have done it in Boston, or I would have, it's just not true. Okay, you would have done it in Europe. Okay, in Berlin or something like that, and it's just not true. They just wouldn't accept that. It wouldn't have happened there. It did not happen there. Okay, where it did happen is Silicon Valley, and it's just like George Washington. They wanted actual representation. So I know this kind of goes around. This is something that's supposed to be written about, but no one has ever written on a touchscreen until about 10 years ago, and since then I don't think anyone has actually written anything good on a touchscreen. It's just gotten more and more childish, more and more idiotic. Okay, the science from the New World is very systematic, but in the Old World, it is much more complex, much more diplomatic. Okay, the systems have to be identified that you can't identify in the frontier. No one can identify it on the frontier, but someone can identify it in the Old World. And that's what people are waiting for. They're not waiting for someone who thinks the New World is fictional. Okay, that the frontier is fictional, that George Washington is some sort of hateful person. Okay, again, you're pushing that stuff, and you're just creating war. You're creating real war, which destroys our spirituality. Wow, I got splashed. And I got wet. And it's raining. Oh, it's cold. This is the reality, okay? So I'm trying to make this shorter. Okay.